Hi, it's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts, and it's Freebie Friday. I have a couple of patterns to show you from blogs or websites that offer free patterns. But first, I have one finished project that came from a kit. This has been sitting around for a while, and I was very proud of myself for finishing it up last night. But it was one of those kits where it'd be like, do not recommend. I think it was one I got from Temu, and there were multiple issues. I mean, the directions were just so tiny, and there were very little instructions for like where to put the eyes, where to put the wings. It was all like, oh, click on this video. I don't want to go watch a half-hour video to find out where to put the eyes, but I finished up a little penguin with a hat on. So I can cross one project off my works in progress list, and I let myself start a new kit. Problem is, the kit that I started is probably one of the biggest items in my entire list. I am currently working on the belly of this bunny, and it is 64 stitches at the biggest with chunky yarn. So like the belly of the bunny is about this big. It's gonna be a big bunny. Yes. Okay, so back to Freebie Friday. Last week, I showed you, I hope I still have it, a cute little eagle that Strawberry Bonnie made from a pattern at the Nomad Knot. It's cute. And I went and I checked out the channel. It's like, oh, I want to make that one too. Well, from the picture of Bonnie's bunny, not bunny, Bonnie's eagle, she made a little eagle. I thought it was maybe that tall, and it was going to be really quick to work on. How tall did I say? About that tall? Turned out a little bigger than I thought, but I still like him. There we go. I also, she said that she did something different at the neck. For the pattern, you're supposed to chain a certain number and then work a scallop in that chain, and then when you get to that point on the neck, you're crocheting that onto, like, no, I'm not doing that. I was working from the center and the outs. I was working from the center of a cake, so I just took the yarn from the outside, and I did, well, the last row of brown I did back loop only, so I'd have a loop to work in. And I tried working the scallop around that, but the brown was showing. So in the next loop was front loop only because you're doing the increases and you want the head to sort of pop a bit. So I couldn't do it there. So I did like post stitches around the single crochets to do the scallops there. Could have been easier, but you know, that's what I did. But this was not the only pattern that I did from the Nomad Knot. She was on a 4th of July theme a little bit earlier, and she also had a red, white, and blue heart. And I just thought that was so nice. And these are also Buffalo Bills colors. So I just had to make that. So here we go. We have these two from the Nomad Knot. And, of course, all through the month of July, I've been working on another pattern from a YouTuber who has a blog with free patterns, and that would be Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. For the whole month of July, she's doing her bear in a box crochet along. The first week you got the pattern for the bear. The second week you got the pattern for the little bed, the bedding, and the blanket. Well, the blanket you could do your own thing. and the little pillow and the little sun throw pillow. And then this week, Monday, well, her time Monday, I found it on Tuesday because she's different. She's in Europe and we're in States, and if she posts it Monday evening, I don't see it till Tuesday morning. Okay. This week was clothes. So there is my bear in all her glory. She's got her little bedding and her fancy little dress, and I made her a matching hat. You could watch yesterday's video. I think it was yesterday. I lose track of things. Where I described how I made the hat. My math didn't go right, so it's easier to just tell you how I did it than to give you exact numbers. So, boop, 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 boop. There's lots of fun. Let's see, we'll go over here so we can still have the bear up there. There's lots of fun free patterns out there. If you just look around a bit. Let's see, what am I working on? Well, now I'm working on, I'll have to check and see if the pattern for the kit that I'm working on now is like available on the Premier website, because it uses Premier chunky fruit yarn. So it is a pattern from Premier. I don't know if it's free on their blog, but I would check that. And I need to get back to that project. I'm starting decreases now. So instead of 60 something stitches per row, I think it's down in the 50s now. So it's getting better. But the problem is, before I do much more, the pattern said that I said bear, it's a bunny. The bunny takes about 200 grams of yarn, and the cake itself is 200 grams. But you need to have two of them because the colors are, they say, cherry-picked, because it's fruit yarn, cherry-picked for the project. Like on the bunny, the body is supposed to be the black and white checked yarn from the dragon fruit. Well, I've run out of yarn. I'm only about halfway done with the belly, and I've run out of yarn. So I'm going to have to break the other cake open and start separating that. I ended up, when I separated the cakes, separated the yarn cake into colors, 9 little cakes about this big, 3 of each color. There's a black and white speckle, a green and yellow, and a hot pink. And let's see, the body is the speckle, the head and the arms are the green and yellow, and then the ears and the legs are the hot pink. So I'm guessing that once I finish it up, I'm going to have extra of some of the colors, because maybe I'll end up with like 6 separate cakes of each color. Maybe I'll use all 6 for the belly, but then I'll have a couple of pink and a couple of green left over. I don't know. We shall see. So that's my project for tonight. A dragon fruit bunny. And I'm sitting there as I'm working on it thinking, oh, I could do a turtle where I use the yellow and the green for the head and the hot pink for the shell, or this speckled for the shell and then the hot pink for the head, or the green for the... So I'm already making plans for the leftover yarn. I haven't even finished the project, but I'm making plans for the leftover yarn. So 1 week from today, I need to have the car loaded for Street Fest. And I keep accumulating new projects up here. They will have to be tagged and bagged. And I have a list, I hope I did not throw it out already, of items that I said I wanted to remember to take, like to add on to Street Fest. And that just keeps growing and growing. I'm going to have the same 10 by 10 space, but I just keep adding stuff to it. But this one will have 2 cars. Like, my husband will come with his car, and he can bring a few extra totes or things, and I can set up a little bit more stuff there. And I'm hoping that the weather will be nice enough that I can hang things from the tent around the perimeter. As long as it's not like really windy or raining. And right now, the weather forecast is still a week away. So, the weather forecast isn't usually all that accurate a week out. They're saying rain on Friday, nice on Saturday, rain on Sunday. That's what they said last week. And it rained on Saturday morning. So, we shall see. At least they're only saying 82. That's what they were saying last week, about a week out. They were saying 82, and then it was 93. But even if the weather is 93 degrees, I think for Street Fest people will come out still, because there's so many nice places along Main Street where they can hop in and get a cold beverage. They can get a lemonade or an iced coffee or something like that. It really is like a walking town where people like to come and stroll down Main Street and just, okay, well, that's why a number of Hallmark movies were filmed there on Main Street. Yes, because it just has that small town feel to it, and just the friendly hometown people coming out and walking around. Okay. What was one of them? A Prince for Christmas? I can Google it and find out all of the movies. And they just filmed one. I think it might be coming out this Christmas. It's something about a football player getting married for Christmas. I think Josh Allen had something, I think it's highly influenced by Josh Allen and his recent marriage. So, not all that original, but how many Hallmark Christmas movies are highly original? My apologies. If you are a dedicated fan of Hallmark movies, I love to watch them with my youngest daughter, and we hand out bingo cards. Hallmark Christmas movie bingo cards, where there are all these little things like snowball fight, cup of hot cocoa, decorating the Christmas tree, accidentally bumps into him, and you get to cross it off as you see it in the movie. And we just have the greatest time with it, like, hey, I got my hot cocoa, or ice skating, that's on my card. So I don't know how we went from Freebie Friday to Hallmark movies, but I think it's time for me to go check on dinner. So, bye-bye.